All right, so in this session, we will see what is the p-value. What is a p-value? P-value in simple words, it is a probability value, right? So it is a probability value between 0 and 1. We all know probability is between 0 and 1, right? So it is a number describing the likelihood of obtaining the observed data. Number describing the likelihood of obtaining the observed data under the null hypothesis of a statistical test. Right. So I know that you didn't understand what is written here. Let's just see in this problem. Let's say you are seeing this. This is your laptop, right? So this is your space bar, this is your alternate and Windows key, control and alt key, and this is your mouse pad. I will just explain this whole idea of p-value using these two examples here, right? So the first, let's just say you have the task, you have this space bar here, and in the space bar, most of the people, what they do is that they click on this area, right? So most of the people, they click on the space bar with their either when you are typing like this, then most of the time your this thumb finger, this will be clicked on the center of your space bar, right? Most of the people do it with your fingers, or but most of the people while you are typing, so they just try to press the space bar on this area, on the middle area, right? Very few times you may be clicking on this side or maybe on this side, but most of the time you are clicking on the center of the space bar, right? So what I'm going to tell you here, that if I say that most of the people are pressing pressing the space bar from the middle, right, in this area, most of the people are pressing this and in the middle area, right? So what is the p-value in this area? Let's say in this area at this point, let's say we have a p-value. Let's say we have a p-value here. P is equals to, let's say, 0.8, right? Let's say 0.8. It means that out of 100 observations, let's say I just typed on this keyboard 100 times, and out of 100, 80 times or 80% I clicked on this area, right? I click on this area. Out of the 100 clicks, out of the 100 presses on this space bar, 80 times I click on this area, right? So the p-value we have is 0.8. So what does it says? That our hypothesis, or our statement, our main statement. What is our main statement? That most people click on center of space bar. This is our null hypothesis. What is the null hypothesis? Either of the statements that we are saying, we need to prove that, right? So the statement that we need to prove is your null hypothesis. It is mainly mentioned on your question. So when I'm saying that most of the people click on the center of the space bar, then it is the null hypothesis. And what is the p-value? P-value describes the likelihood of the observed data under the null hypothesis, right? So it says that if your p-value is high, that it means that the chances of the null hypothesis to be true are high, right? And if your p-value is less, right, or minimal, then you can say that the chances or the likelihood of your null hypothesis to be true are less, right? So if in this case, right, in this region, let's say your p-value would be around, for example, your p-value is 0.02, right? So in this region, your p-value is 0.02, which what does it means? That in sometimes that people are clicking on this region, right? On this region. So it is not the center, right? Obviously. So this is all about your p-value. Let's just take another example from this mouse pad. Let's say this is your mouse pad on your laptop. And if I just draw like a distribution here, right? If I draw like a distribution here, then you can see that why this area is in a bell curve, or like the 90% of the area like this, right? This why this there is a bell shape here, and why there is a smaller value here, because most of the time people are clicking on this area of the mouse pad, right? So most of the people are just moving their finger on this area like this, right? So and a very few times they just click on this or move their fingers on this or this area, right? So that's why the not distribution is less in this region, right? So what do I say? If my null hypothesis says, that most people move fingers in center of mouse pad, right, in this area. So this is my null hypothesis. Now in for this, our p value, let's say in this area, let's say in this area we have like p value, p is equals to, let's say, 0.9. So out of 100 times, if I move my finger on mouse pad 100 times, then 90 times or 90% there's a probability that I move my finger in this point, right? And in a very few, or you can say in this region, let's say my finger moved only, let's say, 2 times, right? So our probability would be 0.02, right? So our p value or probability will be like this 0.02. So the null hypothesis or my original statement, which says that most people move fingers in the center of the mouse pad, it is like the higher p value is supporting my original null hypothesis or my original statement, while this p value 0.02 is not supporting, it is opposing my null hypothesis, and it is saying that no, your statement is wrong. There are some peoples which are moving their finger on these sides also, right? So this is the whole thing of the p value.